our sitting.
Good morning. Sorry about the delay in starting today. We had another matter that we had to do first. Yes, Ms Edwards.
None of the family are on screen and have waited up. I didn't realise they'd be joining us
Oh.
today, and I apologise to them for the wait while we
Yes.
organised a few administrative matters.
Yes, apologies to Vinciane and Laurent.
Your Honour, with your leave, I might remain seated. Today we just need to sort out some of the paperwork. And I'll just go through it. They're in different categories. The first category is documents that are new to the brief that have been served on the interested parties, and I'm notionally tendering now, although they've already been added to Your Honour's brief and already have tab numbers. So I'll put those onto the record. Volume 1, capital A, tab 3, annexure 4 is a document called New South Wales Police Case. Volume 7, tab 88, a statement of Chloe Gibson. Volume 8, tab 120, capital B, capital A, is a supplementary statement of Senior Constable Papworth. Volume 8, tab 125, capital B, is a statement of Detective Sergeant Peter Rudens. And Volume 11, tab 174, capital B, is a further supplementary statement of Professor Aruna Senavaratne. So those documents are already in Your Honour's brief and everybody has seen those.
Yes, thank you.
The next category of documents is documents which have been recently circulated. There's a statement of James Fuggle, spelt F-U-G-G-L-E. That was recently circulated. I can tender that now to form part of the brief if there's no objection.
Yes, thank you.
And then there's some material, again, that the parties may or may not have had an opportunity to review in time. So I'll indicate that there is a letter from Samantha York of Google that's dated the 24th of February 2002. And there is a letter... 2022. There's also a letter from Telstra dated the 14th of February 2022. The letter from Telstra will need to be reviewed for any possible redactions, but it has been circulated to the Hayez family and their representative. If there's no objection, I can notionally tender the letter from Samantha York.
There's no objection, Your Honour.
No objection, Your Honour.
Thank you.
Your Honour, can I request, with respect to the letter from Telstra dated the 14th of February this year, that any redactions be made by the 11th of March 2022? And unless there's objection, I'll tender it on that date, although that's likely to be in chambers.
Yes.
Your Honour. In terms of new material, there's 2 letters that were received from Telstra yesterday. They'll be sent out to parties probably today. So again, I'd ask parties to notify the assisting team of any objections with a proposed tender date of the 11th of March in chambers.
Yes.
There's a statement of Sergeant Hawkes, again, that is or will be circulated today, and I'd ask that it be tendered in chambers if there's no objection on the 11th of March.
Yes.
There's drone footage that was provided by Senior Constable Sterling of flights on the 12th of June 2019. If there's no objection, that could potentially be tendered today.
There's no objection.
No from my, Your Honour.
Thank you.
I'll tender that footage, Your Honour, and we do have the disc here.
Thank you.
There's a statement from Mr. Ludlow that will be circulated either today or early next week. That's just being finalised. He's one of the searchers. So again, we'll circulate that shortly, and with a planned tender date in chambers of the 11th of March.
Yes.
Your Honour would recall yesterday that there were a number of maps and exhibits used during the examination of the professor by Mr. Harrington. Some of that material was new. Before 11th of March, we will work out the best way to regularise all of those exhibits and label them, and then they'll be notionally tendered again on the 11th of March unless there's any objection.
Yes.
We also we had a request from Mr. Evenden as to whether or not any more material can be tendered with respect to the geofencing exercise that was undertaken by Google at the request of the Belgian authorities. The answer to that is unfortunately no. We have been informed that there's no more material that we can put before the court without the MLAT, and we've gone through in detail how we are unable to get and we're unable to go through the MLAT process. So there's unfortunately nothing more we can put on the record about that activity while that barrier remains in place. We similarly are likely to be stymied with respect to two sets of data from Telstra. Telstra is not standing in the way of providing that material, but it doesn't seem like there's any legal avenue that they can provide that material to us. For what it's worth, to provide some reassurance to the family, I don't think this data is significant or particularly revelatory, but it is information that for completeness we had wanted to put on the brief. But at this stage we haven't been able to work out a way in which that material can be lawfully accessed for the purposes of a missing persons investigation. And of course, when I say that I don't think it's going to be revelatory, I haven't seen it because we can't see it. So, you know, there's a limit to what we can say about it because we don't know exactly what's involved. But it's telecommunications material that can only be provided in the investigation of a criminal offence. We are hoping that in that period until the 11th of March, we can look into the legalities of this, and if there is a way forward, we're going to try and find one, and then we will try and obtain that material. Yes. Can I propose that, Your Honour, there's been a lot of documentary material over the last few months in particular. It may be that we have we've marked something and failed to tender it, or that we've forgotten to tender it. Can I suggest that 11th of March date be the date for any miscellaneous material that we might have neglected to be put forward to the court and tendered?
Yes, I think 11th of March is the cut-off date.
So those are the housekeeping matters that we wish to raise today. The remaining issue is the matter of submissions and findings, and I should indicate, Your Honour, that there is a review has been requested from Detective Chief Inspector Brown. We don't have a time frame for the completion of that review, so obviously if that review is completed before the inquest, we may need to consider whether or not it's tendered as part of the inquest process or not, but we don't have a time frame for that material. We just don't know when
And I understand we've asked, and it wasn't possible for a time frame to be provided.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know if Mr. Evenden or Ms. Palmer want to be heard on the issue of submissions.
Your Honour, the only thing I would just add in relation to the tender of materials is Mr. Evenden mentioned to me that it could be a good idea to put the press release from the Commissioner of the Police dated 23rd February 2022 and tender that, which from our perspective, we're very happy to do that. I obviously don't have a physical copy to hand up to Your Honour, but perhaps Council Assisting could arrange that on our behalf.
I don't actually have a copy of that at all, Your Honour, but if that could be provided before the 11th of March, it could be tendered in chambers on that date, but we don't have anything
Ms. Palmer,
in relation to that process.
If you could arrange for a copy of that to be sent to those assisting me, then that can be tendered in chambers before the 11th of March.
Of course, thank you, Your Honour.
Thank you.
Your Honour, just three matters to raise. One is in relation to the fencing material, and I've heard what Council Assisting has said about not being able to tender anything to the court. My question is whether some material can be provided to the family as to the actual exercise that was undertaken, of which some evidence has been given. So I'll leave that for Council Assisting to consider.
It's not a matter for me to consider it. We've sought the permission of the Belgian authorities, and we've been told that to do that we need to go through the MLAT process. So it's not something that we have any authority to do.
I think if we could, we would.
Yes.
All right. So it can't be. I'm just distinguishing there between providing it to the family and tendering it to the court. So it can't be provided to the family.
We have asked. It's not something we've neglected, and we clarified because we had some warmth in that regard, and we followed up and said, so can we do this? And we were told it would require an MLAT.
I see.
All right. So essentially, we have what was given, the evidence that was given in the first tranche of the inquest.
Yes.
All right. Your Honour, the second matter is in relation to the accuracy of the maps that were or are to be tendered, flowing on from the professor's evidence yesterday. And my concerns, which I have expressed to the Council Assisting team, is how we can best represent the timing advance data at those critical times where there was an intersection between the two stations on a map accurately. And Your Honour will have seen from the different maps provided by Mr. Pector and the police and also the professor that there were differences in where those intersections were. So my proposal would be to speak to the Council Assisting team about whether a further map can be sourced and perhaps tendered that provides some confidence about the actual results. And finally, Your Honour, in relation to submissions, I'll just be guided by what Council Assisting proposes and then perhaps on that.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Evenden. As far as the maps are concerned, I think that's something that we can look into with.
I think we're going to look into whether or not someone from the police mapping unit can produce something.
The most accurate map, anyway.
Thank you, Your Honour.
Your Honour, there's mapping that's been done by the police mapping unit yesterday. There's some more maps that have been produced in addition to the ones showing the intersections at 29 past midnight. So there's work underway on that. They're being refined just visually for a start, and then the officer who produced those maps, I think, is also going to provide a statement as to the method and the tools used. So that's, I guess, an initial step, and we'll see where that takes us.
Yes, and that'll be, again, tendered before the 11th of March.
Indeed, yes.
And provided.
Yep.
to everyone. And, all right, and submissions, yes. Is anyone else? Ms Palmer, is there anything you'd like to say about anything?
Your Honour, I just say that the Commissioner would like to have the opportunity to reply if required. I don't know if that factors how the specific dates are organised, but I know we'll need an opportunity to reply to the family submissions, and the family may need an opportunity to reply to our submissions as well.
Well, I was going to propose a date for oral submissions.
Yes, I was proposing...
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right, yes, Ms Edwards.
Oh,
Just identify something from the slide yesterday.
James is just, I beg your pardon, Mr Harrington has a matter to place on the...
Yes, Mr Harrington.
Sorry, Your Honour, just a minor thing, but there was that abseiling map that was shown to Professor Senavarantner yesterday with the different coloured lines.
Yes.
That, for the record, is at volume 3, tab 53 of the brief.
Thanks, Mr Harrington.
Thank you.
All right, now we'll just if we get some proposed dates then.
So the date I was going to propose, Your Honour, which hopefully will give us time to sort out the tendering, receive a transcript, and would also give Detective Chief Inspector Brown 3 months, which may or may not be enough, was the 20th of May.
Yes, is that suitable? Mr Evenden and Ms Palmer? For the family? I propose that we list this matter for 10 a.m. on the 20th of May at Lidcombe for oral submissions to be made.
Could I
Yeah. Excuse me, Your Honour. I believe I'm listed to appear in another inquest that day, but I'll just check that now.
Thank you.
Any formal projects. I think in Korea. I think in Korea there's a particular. Oh, yes. And not just like two and Vu, it's like the whole. Yeah.
While Ms Palmer's just checking her diary, Mr Evenden, is that date suitable for the family?
Oh, mute. You're on mute, Mr Evenden.
JP, is the 20th of May suitable for the family? Do you want to speak to Vinciane and Laurent?
I think Laurent's nodding. Yes, and thumbs up, Vinciane. Thumbs up from Laurent.
Fantastic.
Received the message. Thank you. I'll just check with Ms Palmer.
Your Honour, I believe I'm listed for an inquest on that day. It is the last day of an inquest that's listed for the entire week.
Yes.
So, you know, it is possible that it might not go for the entire 5 days, but at the moment that's in my diary on the Friday the 20th of May, it's the inquest into Jacob Carr.
Oh, okay.
Of course.
Yeah. All right.
We could also do the 23rd if.
Could I propose another date? I haven't checked this with Councillor Sitting, 31st of May.
I can do.
Your Honour, yeah, I can do either the 23rd or the 31st of May. They're both suitable.
I'm in an inquest that week of the 23rd. So the 31st of May is the other date. Just check with JP and Vinciane and Laurent.
That's suitable, Your Honour, for me.
Just check with Laurent and Vinciane about the other date, which is Tuesday the 31st of May at 10 a.m.
Your Honour, that might be a difficult date in terms of...
Oh, it's a difficult
Oh,
date,
of course. Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah.
No, we don't want to. Yeah, it's probably not a good...
Maybe we can ask the family about that, Your Honour. I'm not sure.
Do you want me to just adjourn for a moment so we can find out about that date?
Certainly.
Adjourn for
Par
5
rapport à la date, donc vous allez prendre 5 minutes de pause.
Please all stand. Coroners Court has resumed.
Sorry about that delay in finding a date. So I think we've landed upon Tuesday, the 7th of June at 10 a.m. for oral submissions at Lidcombe Coroners Court. I also propose to list this matter for findings today, and the date for findings will be Friday the 21st of October at 9:30, and I hope that that will be at Byron Bay. All right. Ms. Edwards, is there anything else?
No, thank you, Your Honour.
All right. Does anyone else wish to raise anything before we adjourn?
No, thank you, Your Honour.
All right.
No,
And thank you to Vinciane and Laurent and JP. I'm sorry that it's so late for Vinciane and Laurent. I'll sign off now, and I thank you for your involvement.
Thank you very much, Your Honour. We
Thank you very
appreciate
much.
all your work. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Evenden. Thank you, Ms. Palmer. Thank you, Ms. Edwards, Mr. Harrington, Ms. McGee. We'll adjourn.
Please all stand. Coroners Court is now adjourned.